So I started creating content back in 2018. Since then, in my business, Caris Digital, you can see the sign behind me there, we've sold millions and millions of dollars of courses, affiliate products, coaching, one-to-one consulting, virtual events, SaaS, pretty much everything, right? In some way, shape or form, with content being a key part of it, right? And in this video, what I want to share with you, right, we're going to jump into the computer, is I want to share with you 11 different types of posts, right? Could also be used as emails that we use month in and month out and help our clients write as well. That's a key part of the written content that we create, okay? I'm also going to walk you through a quick snapshot of our model that we help clients implement to build $30,000 to $100,000 per month coaching, consulting type businesses, right? And the model that we use actually allows them to eliminate sales calls, eliminate doing kind of 2-hour plus webinars. They don't need a big team, and content is a key part of that, right? Written content is a key piece of that. So we're going to talk through the model, then I'm going to walk you through these 11 different types of posts, right? And I'll explain what each of them is, how they work, and then you can go and implement these into your own business as well. Okay, before we jump into it, if you haven't already, be sure to subscribe, give the video a like. If you get any value from it, would be really appreciated. Leave any questions or comments that you've got below. And if you want information about what we do, more information about what we do, head over to www.jacobcaris.com. You can join my email newsletter, join our free private community, and you can get details about the masterminds that we run for affiliate marketers and for high ticket information marketers. Okay, so with that all said, with that all out of the way, let's jump into the computer and walk through these 11 different types of content and how they fit into the overall model that we help clients with to get up to that $30,000 to $100,000 per month mark in their coaching and consulting businesses. Let's do it. All right, folks, so let's jump into this one. First things first is I want to walk you through the 30,000 foot overview of the model that we implement with our clients. I want to show you where the written content fits into this. Then I'm going to talk you through these 11 different post types. And as I said off the top, you can also repurpose these as emails. That's totally okay. All right, but first things first, let's look at this model here. Okay, so what we really help folks do is if they sell high ticket courses, coaching, consulting, even affiliate products, that's where I got my start. How do we build and engineer a business that can produce $30,000 to $100,000 a month? And we do things a little bit differently. We help our clients actually eliminate sales calls, keep their team really small and close-knit, and eliminate a lot of the like marketing type events that people typically run, long webinars, challenges, basically simplifying things down as much as possible. Okay, now I'm not going to get too much into the one-to-one chat piece or the selling their signature offers. We use a couple of different sales concepts, collaborative selling, something called invitation selling as well. We're not going to touch on that too much in this video. What I want to talk about more is what's on the left of screen here, which is this content ecosystem. Okay, and we build this for a couple of reasons. One, to generate new leads. 2, to nurture the new leads that are coming in. 3, to build the reputation of the person and the brand behind the business. And 3, to pre-sell. Okay. Now, what a lot of people do is they spend a lot of time in their business on the sales process. And typically in this market, that's going to be on the phone. The issue that they run into is that either they or their team spend all day cranking the phones with people who haven't really been pre-sold on them because all they're focused on is booking as many calls as possible. And so that's one of the things that we really want our content to do. We want it to pre-sell people on the fact that we understand their problems, right? We have clarity about the problems that they are experiencing. That very quickly will position you as an expert. We have a plan. Right? We have a plan to fix those problems. We have a solution. And we've got our own unique style and way of doing things. That's the main 3 things that we're trying to pre-sell people on. Okay? And if we can achieve all of these things, new leads, nurture our leads, build our reputation, and pre-sell through our content, what will ultimately happen is we will have one-to-one conversations that come out of this process, right? You can imagine like this is a big wheel that's turning, right? And every day it will turn faster, it will turn bigger, right? As word of mouth starts to kick in, things start to compound, our brand is out there in more places, we might start running ads to put more fuel on the fire. This content and brand ecosystem will keep growing. It'll actually take on a life of its own to the point that you can't stop it even if you want to. And that's a good thing. right? Because then if you could put your tools down on your content for a month, this thing can still get bigger, right? It can still get bigger. But what happens is this thing spins, right? So imagine this is a big circle, it's spinning around. It's actually gonna start spitting out these conversations, okay? And the bigger it gets, the more frequently it's gonna start to spit them out. And if you're earlier on and it's not giving you enough inbounds, you can go out to your audience, right? Pay attention to who's interacting with your stuff, who's asking questions, who's opening your emails, who's liking your posts on Facebook, on Instagram. You can go out to your audience, right? Don't be afraid of outbound sales process. Okay, but the whole goal is we build this ecosystem that generates us these one-to-one conversations, and then we can invite them to join our offers, right? So if we now look at these yellow boxes, okay, this is my business. You can interchange these. It's not the point that you have to have these exact things. I've got clients that have very different looking businesses. What's important is understanding the utility of them within the broader structure, right? So for me, YouTube. Right? I get out there and do interviews on other people's platforms. I have my website, www.jacobcaris.com, where I funnel a lot of traffic. We do email marketing. I run a private Facebook group, right? You can join my newsletter and my Facebook group at my website, jacobcaris.com. I post on my Facebook profile. People come and find me there. We get a lot of word of mouth and referrals. Okay, we run affiliate programs. We run referral programs. We have clients that kick us, so they're happy to talk about what we've done for them. Right? And we run some paid ads. Most of our stuff is organic. We're moving into paid ads more and more, but it is a part of the overall ecosystem, okay? And then all of this collectively forms the brand, right, that's out in the market, okay? So if we look at these individual components, the main two places for me where the written type content pops up is in my profile, my group, and email. Okay, you could deploy this onto Instagram. You could deploy these concepts into a blog if you wanted to, onto your website. They're going to be your main options. But for me, it's those three. Okay, so I just wanted to zoom out before we kind of zoom in here, right? So now you understand where this really fits into the puzzle. You can hit us up on the website if you want help implementing this in your business. All right, so let's jump into these 11 post types. Okay, number one, your story and stories. Okay, so when you're building a personal brand, story is critical, right? People love listening to stories. We all know that from a marketing perspective. Let me quickly explain the distinction of what I mean by your story versus your stories. Okay, so you're gonna have a big story about how you got where you are today that you're probably going to tell and tell and tell and tell, right? When I tell mine, depending on how far back I go, I'll either go back to about 2010 or I'll go back to about 2016, right? And then I tell the story of how I got to whatever the relevant point in time is when I'm telling the story. Within that bigger story, you've got lots of micro stories. You've got wins, you've got losses, successes, failures, people you've met, travels you've done, awards you've won, things you've created, huge failures, huge wins, all that kind of stuff, right? They're the micro stories along the way. Each of those, be it the big story or the micro stories, can be content, and it can be very, very effective content, because if people read it and go, shit, I resonate with this, with that, with the other thing, that can grab people, right? It's not necessarily going to grab them and get them to pay you immediately, but it might be enough to grab them to actually get them to pay attention, and then your content can go to work, right? And then they're in this kind of flywheel thing that we spoke about back here. We need to get their attention. Then once they're in it, they can start consuming the other stuff. So if you tell your story and it grabs them, right? Like I get a lot of people who follow along and get in touch because of my corporate background. Right, I worked in corporate from 2010 until 2018 when I ultimately quit to do this full time. And I get a lot of people who are either in the corporate space wanting to get out, or who were previously in corporate and have since got out. Style, approach, background, whatever the reason may be, right? So tell your story and then break down the micro stories along the way, right? And tell them over again. Don't worry about repeating yourself. Right? One, only a small percentage of your audience is paying attention and or will see it at any given point in time. Two, there's always new people coming in. Three, if you tell it in a different way, they might hear something different, and that might be the thing to grab them. If you look at a lot of the big personal brands, they tell the same stories over and over and over again. Pay attention to what people respond well to, and then leverage that. Okay, so that's the first one, your story and stories. Number two, lifestyle. Right, now I don't mean the bullshit lifestyle, like on the beach, cocktails, do no work, Lambos, that kind of crap. I mean, let them into your world, right? Share what you're up to. If you're traveling, if you're doing this, that, and the other thing, let them in, okay? The fundamental principle here is that you let them in behind the scenes of the person behind the brand, Okay. The other thing is, if you sell any type of product where you're living in a certain way, be that financial, a relationship, health and fitness, a certain type of freedom or flexibility in life, you want to show people that you're embodying that, right? You want to show people that you are a product of what you do, right? You walk the walk as well as talk the talk. So let them in on your lifestyle. Let them in behind the scenes. The other thing is it just breaks down the barriers, right? Lets them know that they're working with a human who has family, who likes doing this, that, the other thing, right? Let them in behind the scenes, okay? Don't be afraid to do that. These are typically going to be shorter form posts with a photo, with a video, with a live, right? Not going to be your longer form written posts as much, but just let them into your world is effectively what's going on there. And think about how that aligns to what you're ultimately selling. All right, number 3, belief shifting. Okay, if you go into any market, there's going to be a set of commonly held beliefs. What you want to identify is, where does your approach or your views or your experience differ from those commonly held beliefs? And then you write posts about why your view is different in order to shift people over to your way of thinking, hence the name belief shifting. Okay, so for example, in our space, most people get told that if you want to sell something for over $2,000, you've got to get on a sales call. Bullshit, not true, right? So very frequently, I'm writing belief shifting posts about that, because we help people close deals $40,000 and above without sales calls, right? So I can shift their beliefs around that. Typically what that then creates is they go out there and change their actions. And if you can get someone to change their actions, they're way more likely to pay attention to you. Then they get into this content ecosystem and we're off to the races. Okay, so belief shifting, really, really powerful. Sit down with a glass of wine, coffee, tea, whatever you're into, vodka, and think about, what does my market believe as a general rule, right? What are the common beliefs that are held? And what don't I agree with? What do I hear and go, bullshit, my experience is different. Bullshit, we teach a different way. They're your belief shifting. Okay. Number 4, opinions. Now, these could be opinions directly related to the subject matter that you're involved with. They could also be opinions outside of that. Political opinions, religious opinions, right? Whatever, like social opinions, whatever you're into. You decide how far you want to take those opinions when it comes to building your brand. Some people go really far with this. I personally don't get too involved with it. If I share an opinion, it's usually pretty aligned to the subject matter that I talk about as part of my brand. But I've also seen people go really far removed, because all it's doing, right, be it related to the subject matter or not, is it's attracting more people who align to your way of thinking, right? And it's repelling the people who aren't. So you're building an audience of your people, right? Whether it's related to the subject matter or not. So get out there and share your opinions. I'll let you decide how far you want to take it away from the subject matter. Just know that it's an effective strategy. You're going to get engagement. You're probably going to piss a few people off, so be prepared for that. You need thick enough skin to be able to handle that, but it'll get you engagement, it'll get you attention, and it'll get them into your world so that the other content can help doing the pre-selling and all that kind of stuff we spoke about off the top. All right, pains. We buy because we've got problems. All right, we buy because we've got pains. We buy because we're experiencing symptoms of those pains and problems. We need to be able to describe those to our audience. And the more detail we can describe the pains and problems and symptoms, the more we demonstrate how well we understand what our prospects and our clients are going through. Right? So I say to my clients, imagine you're standing outside your prospect's house and you look through the window. Day to day, what are they doing? What are they experiencing? What are they feeling? What are they seeing? What are they hearing? Right, what are they going through? Put out those types of posts where you show people a little mind movie that you understand their challenges, and then pay attention to the ones that they respond to and double down on them. They're your winning angles, okay? These can be great to grab new people, because we're really in tune to what we want to fix in our lives, mostly, right? If we're in the market for something anyway. We know our challenges and our problems, and we know what we're trying to do. So if we can very accurately describe a challenge or a pain or a problem, we can hook people's attention and get them into that flywheel, right? Number 6, these two can go together. 5 and 6 can go together. They can also be independent. Is what's your plan? Like with story and stories, you've got what's your plan and what are your plans? You've got the macro plan, right? Like you've seen a pretty high level example here of our overall plan where we create this ecosystem, spits out one-to-one conversations, and we simply invite people to work with us. It's our plan to do this. But within that, we're now currently going through 11 post types, which sit within this. So that's a plan within the broader plan, okay? So you do posts about your overall strategy, your overall solution, and the micro components within it that can be valuable to your audience as well. Okay. Number 7, pretty obvious, testimonials and case studies. People that you work with that you actually help, write content about that. Right? Pretty straightforward. Number 8, this one gets underutilized. What do people object to? Price, trust, not ready, questions, all the objections that they throw up as part of your sales process. You can handle those at scale through your content. Questions that people ask. Create content around that stuff, and you can actually knock people off the fence in your content. If they've been not reaching out because they've got this roadblock, and you write a post that handles it, you just cleared the path for them to buy. So pay attention to the objections that you're getting in your sales conversations and write posts answering those questions, right? If one person's got it, there's probably more that have got it, and you can answer that question for them at scale. Save yourself and your team a lot of time, okay? Flows into number 9. Outside of objections, any questions that pop up that you think are relevant, if one person's got them, multiple people probably have them, right? So answer questions that you get, common questions that come in. Answer those in your content. It's valuable, right? And you can always find a way to tie in this, to tie in this, to tie in this, to tie in this, to tie in this. These can be individual posts, but you can also weave these elements into each other, okay? Number 10, status and association. Some people like this, some people won't. We live in a very celebrity-driven world, and I don't just mean like super famous movie stars, right? Niche celebrities in your market, right? If you can be perceived to be somebody who associates with celebrities in your market, it will raise your status in the eyes of your market and in the eyes of your prospects. So find ways to associate with those people if you can. Joining masterminds, attending events, getting photos, all that kind of stuff. You may like that stuff, you may not. I'll let you figure that out. I just want to tell you, it's an option. Okay, so think about how you can elevate your status by association. Do interviews with people, podcasts, YouTube videos, JVs, all that kind of stuff. Status and association type posts will help elevate your reputation as a brand and build your reputation in the market, and we'll start pre-selling people as well. Okay, and then number 11, this is one that I've not seen many other people do, and it's one I do from time to time. It's usually the one I pull out if I don't have any immediate ideas. I'll call it the vlog style post. I'll literally sit down and write out what I did that day. In me simply running my business and doing my thing, there's going to be value in there for people who want to do the similar things that I do, right? Who want to run a business like mine, who want to create content that sells, who want to sell courses and coaching and consulting. So when I can sit down and write about what I did, write about the lessons, the people I spoke to, the light bulbs, the challenges we overcame on that given day, that's valuable. It also shows I'm walking the walk. Okay, I can also weave in stories. I can weave in lifestyle. I can weave in this. 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 I can handle objections. I can answer questions, right? I could potentially include status and association. This is like a catch-all, right? It's a great kind of get out of jail free card. If you sit down, you're like, I don't know what I wrote. Wrote about what you did. Write about what you did that day, right? I think it will help you out a lot. All right. So they're my 11. You can see how they fit into the overall picture. So your job is to go out there and use these. All right. If you want to go deeper on this with us, you can check out the masterminds on our website. You can join my email list, my private community. You'll see us use these types of posts in full swing in there, and you can go and implement these in your own business. Head over to jacobcaris.com, subscribe, like, all that kind of good stuff. That's me done for today. I'll talk to you all soon. Cheers.